Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 83. We are a podcast that talks about pop culture things, and sometimes there's whiskey. It's an
Mhm.
early morning if you're watching live. Thanks for joining us. My name is John. I'm joined, as always, by Andrea. How's it going?
Good morning. I look more like I had a couple of glasses of whiskey last night and just kind of rolled out of bed ready for the podcast than I do having whiskey in the morning, I think.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It could be more disheveled for that, or like have like glitter on your face or
Right?
something. It's like
Right?
more
Yeah.
more
Some
catastrophic. We got
some sort of remnants of the night before,
yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have like 20 like bar stamps on my hand back when that was like a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Bar
Mhm.
stamps or wristbands or something
Yep.
like that. Mhm.
Yep. Dang.
Hmm.
Next time. Next time.
Okay. Well, we have just a freestyle show today. It's not we're not reviewing anything. We should be pretty spoiler free. Just covering the news.
Mhm.
In the entertainment space, we'll be talking Disney Plus Day. Um, Everything that went on there. Some gaming news. So Game Awards had their announcements, all that. But before we get there, drink holidays. Reasons to celebrate drinks.
Yeah, 8:30 AM is the time to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this last week saw 2 very related holidays. On November 17th and November 18th, we had World Zinfandel Day, and then we also had, and bear with me everybody, Beaujolais Nouveau Day, which means first
Nice.
wine of the season.
Nice.
I specifically looked it up because I was like, I mean, I know Nouveau, but I had
Yeah.
no idea. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay. But it's a very specifically it's a French celebration celebrating the first wine of the season.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but
Interesting.
yes, I have neither in my cup. Just good old American Joe in here.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep. How
I'm the
about yourself?
same. Yeah, I have a Jurassic Park mug at least.
Mm,
Look at that.
yeah, you went cool.
Mhm.
I could have pulled out so many mugs. I could have pulled out
Yeah.
uh my mug that says probably whiskey would have been very fitting.
Hmm.
My Shakespeare insults mug, I do love that one.
When you said that, I just pictured like RE4 or you opening a jacket and just having all
I
the
know.
mugs to pick from.
What are you buying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something.
Dang it.
All the mugs clanging.
Yep, clanging. Yep. Nope, just me and my
Well,
sad, like, plain white mug, but
yep,
life-giving fluid inside.
that's right. I don't know if I'm talking about it in this podcast or not, but
Mm,
it's a bit of an aside. I guess some people really credit the like advancement of human civilization to the creation and widespread like delivery of coffee,
really?
because all of a sudden we start seeing in like Renaissance days, we start seeing coffee becoming way more available, like, in the West.
Mhm.
And the idea that people were able to become a lot more productive and like have sharper mind.
Hmm,
And now maybe it's coincidence. I don't know.
sure.
But yeah, because it's supposedly kind of coincides as well with different areas of like um artistic and cultural change and upheaval in like the Middle East. All of a sudden,
Mhm.
they get coffee, and then you start getting this amazing architecture and stuff or whatever. Like more people get more things done.
You know, so in a very weird, like, not to get too into, like, history way. I totally find that plausible because in a lot of locations in kind of like older time periods, water was not drinkable. And there were
Hmm.
many solutions that people were trying, to cleanse water enough to like be drinkable. But oftentimes it wasn't. So your alternative was like alcohol. That
Yep.
was like your
Exactly.
your, safe alternative. And so the rise of coffee as another like safe alternative instead
Hmm.
of just being like, "Oh, it's breakfast time. I'm going to have like a mug of ale with my breakfast," or like, a goblet of wine, like you suddenly had something that wouldn't like dull your senses, but would
Yep.
wake you up and enhance them. Like that totally tracks, I think.
Yep. So, I don't know.
I
Something,
dig it.
is probably a lot written on it, I don't know, but I thought it was interesting and it made sense, so,
Or just making
but
up our own version of history over here.
yeah. Well, anyways, caffeine aside,
Mhm.
what have you managed to stay awake for, this week?
So many things, so many things. I stayed awake to finish original Cowboy Bebop. I was very excited and proud of myself about that. And I even decided, it's midnight and I could go to bed or I could watch the opening scene of Netflix's live action Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, that seems like the smarter choice. So I'm going to do that. So
Uh,
so I watched the first like 10 minutes through like the intro theme song of Netflix's Bebop.
mhm,
Um and definitely have some thoughts, like good and bad
okay,
on that, but I will share another day.
okay,
Um Speaking of Netflix, I finished Netflix's You, the show, in case anybody's seen the
okay,
viral clip. I'm not talking about you, John. I'm talking about the show You
hmm,
on Netflix. I finished the third season of that. Found that fantastic. Really enjoyed it. It's very like, if anybody hasn't heard of it, it's very like horror, psychological thriller plus like sort of slice of life of a murderer. It's very funny and very
okay.
weird and very dark, and I love it.
So,
So
when you say viral clip, I mean, was there a news thing happening
yeah,
with that?
so the
Okay,
Netflix show You appeared in a lot of, like, Twitter feeds, because somebody was trying to say, um, they were watching the show You, but they didn't say the show, they said they were watching You, and so the
mhm,
person that they were talking to was like, "What are you talking about, you were watching me?" And it was like a whole, like, "No, I'm talking about you." And the person was like, "You're not talking about me." So, it was a
mhm,
very back and forth, like, who's on first, like, they couldn't get on the same page, and finally, the person who had originally brought the show up had the presence of mind to say, "No, I'm sorry, I'm talking about a Netflix show." But this went on for, like, a solid 2 minutes
wow,
where they were,
okay.
like, back and forthing it, and, like, they were just they weren't getting it, so, of
And it
course,
wasn't intentional?
no, it wasn't. It was
Mm,
very just like, "So on you," they were just trying to shorthand it and just assume the other person knew that they were talking about the Netflix show, and they did not, and every time they tried to correct them, it did not go well.
okay,
So, of course,
okay,
Netflix and then, the star of the show, Penn Badgley, like, picked up on it and, of course, like, started tweeting and being like, "Ah, what a great little bit," you know? "What a
mhm,
great little unintentional bit." So that was making the rounds
okay.
on Twitter this week.
I
So
did see something that I heard was intentional, so it was, like, someone else playing off of that apparently, and I had no idea
yes.
what that was happening, so
Yeah, yeah, of course, like, after the unintentional incident happened,
mhm,
everybody wanted to, like,
yeah,
have their
yep,
own little, recreation moment.
mhm,
But
okay,
but yeah,
cool,
I just thought it was very funny that I was watching the show and then suddenly it was, like, all over Twitter. So,
nice,
um, speaking of other shows, I did watch the first 3 episodes that were dropped on Amazon Prime of Wheel of Time,
okay,
and very pleasantly surprised. I was very nervous for the show. Um, I mean, I definitely have, like, some very small criticisms and things, especially as a reader of the books, but overall, I think it's really well done. It's got great production value, like,
okay,
insane. They definitely spent money well.
nice,
So, yeah,
that's great,
I would highly recommend. I think the first season's gonna be 8 episodes, and they're dropping each Friday now the week after they've released these first 3. So,
okay, um, yeah, that'll put us around Christmas, I suppose, huh?
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I would highly recommend watching them. I think even for readers of the books, like, or not people who haven't read the books, like, it might take a hot second to get into it, like almost any show, but I think they do a great job of, like, playing to the people who know it and who don't. So,
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to give
yeah.
that a shot. I definitely intend to get to that to trying that one this week.
Yeah, and I know our previous podcast guest Phil is also, you know, a fellow fan of the books and loved the show, so I know he'd love to talk about it.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. What's this other show you have in here? I don't know that I've heard
Oh,
about that one.
that so that's actually not a show. I did some reading. Good old-fashioned
Oh.
reading. I cracked open a
Ah.
book. Um Yeah, I read The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner, and it's a book that flips between, like, a modern day woman who's on an anniversary trip in London, goes mudlarking in the Thames, which is basically just, like, digging for treasure in the river, finds this
Classy.
old, like, apothecary bottle and just is like,
Cool.
"Oh, I wonder, like, you know, who this belonged to and, like, see if I can see and find anything out about it," and ends up finding, like, an entire, like, hidden back room in an old alleyway where this, like, apothecary practiced and kind of ends up solving, like, a Victorian era murder case by, kind of just, like, digging into the past, and then, like, the other half of the book is, like, told from, like, Victorian era that the apothecary that she's investigating, it's told from her point of view. So very
See,
interesting. Good book.
if I was, I guess, thinking like a writer should be, I could have come up with this kind of story this year. We like got rid of this section of like junk and stuff in our
Mhm.
one field. And so we're going through cleaning up all the sticks and branches and rocks and stuff like that. And you find little treasures, and I found
Yeah.
too some little bottles that whatever they
Oh,
had, and
hey.
who knows what in there. I had like four of them or something like that. If I could have been like, yeah, what was in these?
Right,
Poison?
exactly.
Must have been poison that old family members they didn't like another their cousin
Yeah, I was
Jed,
gonna
and
say,
they
dig into your family history. Any
yeah.
sudden mysterious deaths
Mhm.
happening or
Right.
people
And
disappearing in the farmland?
yep. Well, I'll say quickly too, as an aside, Mike is in the chat. Thank you for jumping in this
Hey.
morning to the stream. And then Alan says that there's a TV show in adaptation and development for The Lost Apothecary.
What? That's awesome.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I mean, it's a solid book. And I could definitely see how it would be a good TV show, especially flipping, like, point of view of, like, the present moment, somebody investigating this, like, Victorian era mystery, and then, like, flipping back to that time and,
mhm.
like, this woman kind of living through it and how, those stories are told. So, yeah, I could see it being a TV show.
Are we, is our culture overall at a a loss here that nothing can ever just be its own thing ever again? And I I mean, before many moons ago, you'd have if you were writing something, that was like the method you had to tell your story.
Sure.
That's what there was. And you didn't think about another art form or medium because this is it. And so
Right.
it's like the detail, the precision over the words, and like just it was because that was the final form, you know?
Mhm.
And now, I mean, it definitely happens in the comic space. Everyone's writing to get that deal.
Mhm.
Everyone is writing not for their medium or their art form. They're writing to get noticed by Hollywood to sell their rights to make a movie or a TV show. And I
Yeah.
just think it changes what is written, how it's written, I don't know. Do you
Yeah,
agree
I
with that?
mean, yeah, I do. I think, we've always had situations where writers aren't just writing sometimes to write. You know, when I think back to, like, Dickens or Victor Hugo, they wrote because they were oftentimes getting paid by the word. So they
Mm,
inserted a lot of extra stuff into their books
mhm,
because, hey, I can and I get paid for it. So, I'm not
right.
always telling my story to tell my story. It's, I'm getting paid. So that you've always had like different influences for writers for why, maybe a tale comes out the way that it does. Um, but of course, like you say, like now it's not just about like money. It's not just about like my book deal. It's about like I am writing in this medium to be in another medium.
Yep, yep.
And I guess, you could argue that there are influences of that in the Victorian era when newspapers were becoming um sort of part of everyday life and they were becoming so ubiquitous that writers, were writing novels, but to appear in weekly installments of newspapers.
Mm,
Is that really that different? Or is it, oh, they're still going to be appearing in print, so it's not quite the same. So I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know.
it's kind of a yeah. I mean, what's the goal? It's still to is it to then sell newspapers or is it
Right.
to drive people to the novel or it's just I just want to make
Both
money,
and
you know?
probably.
Yeah.
all
So,
all three.
yeah, I think that look, it's I don't uh like despise anyone for it. I understand like if you're a writer, you're
Right.
not like you're trying to get a book deal, you're not it's not like a I'm raking rolling in the dough, So the dream is, oh, I can sell the rights to this to, some studio and I have the next Game of Thrones here.
Mhm.
I get
Mhm.
that. But I do think you potentially lose something when
Yeah.
you're not focused on the the here and now or whatever.
Well, and not to put too much onus on the writer, but why not, if that's your ultimate goal, write your book. And, if that's still what you want to do, write a book that tells the story that you want to tell in a book, and then also write a screenplay or
Yeah.
like write like a pitch for, you know what I mean? Like just write both things.
Hmm.
Maybe once you write one or the other, you'll see like, "Hey, this doesn't need to be a book," or, "Hey, like, nope, this is absolutely a book. It does not translate well to film," you know, or,
Hmm.
"I don't think it will."
Well, or if your thing
Or
is,
if it does,
yeah,
then pitch both.
because I suppose, you could just go straight to writing the script, but it's
Right?
harder to be noticed that way. If you can get something printed and you get some people to read it, you're not selling a script for people to read. So, I mean, obviously people shop around scripts, but if you're not known, then how do you get
Yeah.
eyes on it?
Yeah, I just think it would be an interesting, like, litmus test if a writer had to, if they were like, "Okay, I'm writing and I'm hoping, like, maybe ultimately this is gonna be a screenplay or, a
Yep.
TV show or whatever." Try writing it. See
Yeah.
if it actually needs to be and if it actually works. If somebody would buy it, you
Yeah.
know? And then if your agent is like, "Yep, let's just get this book out so it gets noticed and then we can think about it," like, great. Or maybe somebody's gonna read it and be like, no,
Yep.
doesn't work this way."
Yep. Well, I did a little reading to this week too.
Excellent.
Though in comic book form. So like uh it's less reading involved, but it's still there. We were looking around the bookstore and I'm always interested in what different manga I can read, I guess. And saw one called Akame ga Kill Zero. And I've
Oh, yeah, I
watched
was wondering about
the
that.
anime Akame
Yeah.
ga Kill. And so I was like, well, what is Zero? And it's a prequel.
Mhm.
Um, so picked up the first volume of that, and it feels a lot like the show. I thought it was a good start. So now I have the next few volumes ordered.
Excellent.
Um, yeah, I have you seen a Kame ga Kill?
I haven't seen it the whole way through, but I've seen a couple episodes, yes.
Okay, yeah. When it was recommended to me some number of years ago, I thought, well, it's like came out I believe, around the time of Kill la Kill. I'm just like, "That sounds similar." It's got
Mhm.
this female lead with a sword. I'm just felt like it was gonna be too the same or something. It's a
Mhm.
completely different show.
Yes,
So
absolutely it is.
when Ashley and I watched it, we were pretty surprised, um, how
Yeah.
much we liked it. I thought it was very nice. It's just like a season and then done. Um, yeah, pretty impressed with it. So I was excited for some more content here as a prequel, and I'm enjoying it so far. So
Excellent.
would definitely recommend. Um, in the Japanese department of culture content here, I also watched some more My Hero Academia. I'm
Oh, right.
I'm pretty far behind. I need to start putting more time into powering through that one, especially as more and more shows come out. I gotta
Mhm.
get to Wheel of Time
Mhm.
and Arcane. I really want to watch Arcane,
Same. I've heard some really
which
great things about it.
yeah,
So I'm
I've
I'm excited.
I I was not intending to watch it at all, but it just everything I hear about it is ravings. Just
Yep.
so I gotta
Yep.
try
Yeah, I was
that.
surprised. I was surprised.
Hmm.
I wasn't sure that it was gonna land with people, and then everybody seems to be really loving it.
Hmm.
So
And
I'm not normally one to jump on the train, but I don't know. I'm intrigued as to, what it is about the show that has everybody talking.
yeah, no, I agree. And I'm not a League of Legends person at all. There's
Mhm.
this meme I've shared with some friends that I absolutely love. It's when the Steam Deck was being announced and coming out and stuff. It's the first panel is like Steam Deck can play League of Legends. Nintendo Switch can't play League of Legends. Like conclusion, Nintendo Switch is better. Um, just the
That's
toxic,
pretty
terrible
great.
nature of League of, but look, a lot of people like it, so but I understand you don't need to like League of Legends at all to
Mhm.
appreciate this show, so I'll be getting there. Um, Ghost of Tsushima, I started up
Mhm.
again. I'm always like I get allured or like call the siren song of new games and different stuff. And I'm just torn, but it's not like back in the day when I was a kid and there's a Nintendo 64 game or something. It's just
Mm.
$60 a pop. And I get one, and you better play with that for quite a while.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
now it's like with Game Pass and with free games on the Epic Store, and plus everything I've already gotten, and then new things coming out at pickup. It's just like, what do I play? What do I play?
Mhm.
And so I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, what do I really want to play here? So I jump back into that despite being worried about being able to pick up on it again and not
Yeah.
knowing the controls and stuff. But it's kind of wanted why I wanted to bring it up because the game clearly knew that it had been a while since I played it. And so it did a really good job of like giving the helper pop-ups and
Oh,
stuff
sure. Sure.
automatically. And you can go in the options and actually reset the guide stuff as well. So like if you just forgot how to call your horse or to,
Sure.
crouch and like use your extra sense or whatever, all that stuff. Um, it re-suggests that. So
That's
it was
nice.
very easy to get back into, um, other than like getting my muscle memory back for not dying all the time. A little bit of Black Back for Blood. Been playing a little bit of Halo Infinite. We'll get to that later, and then
Yeah.
w- watch Ghostbusters and the new Ghostbusters Afterlife. Um,
You watched it?
yeah,
Nice.
it.
Spoiler free, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think?
Yeah, thumbs up.
Awesome.
It was like this last minute thing where, hey, this theater is playing early Ghostbusters Afterlife,
Yeah.
and so I thought, well, okay, let's try to squeeze in the first Ghostbusters, which we did,
Sure.
which I was very happy about because there was a
A lot
lot
of
of callbacks.
callbacks.
Yep, a
Yeah.
lot of things I totally would have forgotten about,
Sure.
and so yeah, I if you see it, we're gonna do a review of it sometime. Or otherwise, I do recommend seeing it if you're a Ghostbusters fan. So
Yeah, definitely. I do enjoy the Ghostbusters. Definitely like a pre-Halloween classic, you know, I
Mm,
mean, we're normally about the horror here, but I think Ghostbusters is just one of those that's like, yeah, you get
yeah,
nostalgic for it around that time.
yeah. No, and we kinda like, "Oh, we get to kinda continue Halloween a little bit," you know,
Yeah, for sure.
with video games and then some Ghostbusters, so alright. Well, that's my rambly, long week of different things, going on. We did have some
Mhm.
news this week,
Yeah.
that are probably interesting to viewers. Disney Plus Day.
So much.
So, it's been out, what, I think they were celebrating 2 years of the service being around, which is crazy.
Yeah,
Is it
2
it's gotta
or
be 2
is it 2
years.
or 1?
No, it's gotta be 2. First year was Mandalorian, and then they moved into
Right.
WandaVision and,
Right, right.
then we
Because
had, like, a
yeah.
summer break or something, and then we moved in yeah. Then it was,
Yeah,
like,
because we got
Loki
we
and
got Disney Plus for I mean, the kick in the butt was WandaVision. So, obviously, like, it had already been around. I just forget.
yeah. So, yeah, it's been a while. They gave us kind of a recap video for,
Yeah.
like, things you missed in the Marvel space. Um, yeah, there were some other things, but basically, I guess, focus on mostly the Marvel things.
Mhm.
Then they kind of gave snippets, another trailer of Hawkeye and snippets
Mhm.
of Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, a whole bunch of different things. We didn't
Yeah.
get much from most of them, just little pieces.
Little yeah, or even just, like, for some of them, literally just the title.
Mhm. Yep.
Just to,
Mhm.
like, let you know it's happening. Which,
Yep.
I don't know, I mean, you know, was a little weird, but also at the same time, like, obviously, you can't show everything, so whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting to know. Like, some of the shows, I was like, "I'm interested why you're doing a show about this."
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I Am Groot.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know about that. Or Marvel Zombies.
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
sure why that's a show or a thing.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I'm
But other ones I
yeah.
was really excited about. Like, obviously, we got some little pieces of Moon Knight and um we got like the very, very tiniest piece of She-Hulk, which
Mhm.
I am excited slash terrified for because I loved that cartoon along with X-Men, which they told us they're giving us X-Men 97.
Mhm.
Very nervous slash excited.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah, it
lot of
was
properties in there.
yeah, it was a lot. Um, which it is interesting that I'm sure the idea is, "Hey, subscribe to our service because we have so many things coming."
Mhm.
But yeah, clearly some of them are ways out when you have nothing to show. So I don't know if
Mhm.
it would have done them better to just give us what they actually could show us a little something of, or just do this
Mhm.
whole kind of lineup. People always like looking at those timelines.
Mhm.
Here's everything announced and about when it's coming
Yeah.
out and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like if I were in charge of this, I feel like the first part was good. I mean, gave you a lot of like recap and, for somebody who hasn't seen the Marvel shows yet, good teasers of like, hey, if you're already here or you're thinking about subscribing, here's what you can already watch and here's how good it is. But then it felt like we kept picking up the pace and like getting less and less show. And I feel like I would have rather had expanded pieces of Moon Knight and expanded pieces of She-Hulk, and
Hmm.
then just flash the titles of the rest of them and show me when they're coming out.
Sure.
And then that's it. Like I kept feeling like, "Oh, we're getting a little bit less. Oh, we're getting a little bit less, a little bit
Sure.
less, a little bit less." And rather than feeling like the trailer was picking up pace and
Building to
momentum
something.
and excitement, yeah,
Hmm.
I felt like it was diminishing.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it would have been nice to have like we get kind of a little teaser of Moon Knight, a little teaser of She-Hulk, and then maybe a little bit of talking to some of the writers and some of the
mhm.
cast or whatever. So if
Yeah.
you were ready to show more, you could, talk about it a little bit.
Mhm.
But
Alan said, "What if zombie had a zombies episode, Marvel's What If?" which I know was part of this because they were announcing a season 2,
Mhm.
which is maybe why they're doing Marvel Zombies, but, like, I just don't feel like you can make a whole show out of that. You know
Yeah,
what I
no.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I find it very weird. Like, I saw the preview of the zombies episode for What If, and, like, that seems interesting and what would happen if, like, the Avengers were zombies? Like, what would happen to the world? It seems like a really interesting episode. It seems like if I tried to watch a TV show of that, that would just, like, drag on forever. And,
Yeah.
like, I feel like we're already ready to be done with zombies, a la Walking Dead,
I
which
mean,
dragged on
I
forever.
think so, right? But, I mean, Back for Blood came on not long ago, and that's a lot of zombies, and people were liking that. I was liking that. But again, it wasn't because of the zombies. It could
Right.
have been aliens. I don't care
Yeah,
what, it's really not
yeah, I feel
important.
like that's something
But
different, like, that's, like, a contained like, it's a game, there's, like, a purpose, like, it's not like we're gonna have Back for Blood that stretches out, like, 2 years or something, you know what I
mhm.
mean? Like, you don't have to stretch the storyline, whereas, like, I'm just not sure other than, like, "Hey, we made the Avengers into zombies," like, where that would go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad there's some it looks like some variety.
Mhm.
What are you most excited for from this? Like, what are you really looking forward to? What looks promising?
Well, I am definitely excited for Loki season 2 because I thought 1 was so fantastic. So
Okay.
I'm ready to see where that goes. Like I said, I'm very excited slash terrified for She-Hulk and X-Men 97 because those are huge staples in my childhood. Loved those cartoons. Absolutely loved them. So I really hope that Disney is going to do them justice. I am totally psyched about Agatha, House of Harkness, because she was one of my favorite characters from WandaVision, and Catherine Hahn, I just thought like stole the scene whenever she was on the screen. So I'm ready to have a whole TV show about her and her life and her background. I think it's going to be great. Um, I am the final thing I'm excited for, even though I know almost nothing about it, is Echo, who I know we're gonna be seeing in Hawkeye, very, very briefly. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with that storyline, if it's going to tie into, like, the whole Daredevil universe at all or
Mhm.
not.
It's it it'd be
I mean, it'd
they
be
shouldn't be
crazy
doing the
not
show if
to.
they didn't. Yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
it'd be crazy if they didn't, but I don't know.
It's kind
I
of the
mean,
sad the state that I'm in where I am looking through all this stuff with the lens of like, okay, where are they gonna put Daredevil? Where's
yeah,
Kingpin? All this
yeah.
like, um, and, hoping that's coming true and that it's done well.
Mhm,
Because right now we have the rumor that, yeah, we'll have Kingpin for sure in Echo at the
mhm.
very least, and then, Daredevil and potentially others, his friends and coworkers in She-Hulk, um,
Yes, yep.
because, she's a lawyer, and so we have
Mhm.
some interesting it'd be kind of interesting if we had a case against each other,
Yes.
That'd be fun.
Would
So,
be very in the spirit of She-Hulk too, to, like,
yeah,
be very cheeky about that.
yep. Yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of interested in reading a little bit of She-Hulk because 'cause I've never read any She-Hulk.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know too much about the character. Um, like a normie, I looked up some stuff, to know a little more, but I haven't actually consumed much of the content myself, so, um, kinda wanna try that. I love the actress for She-Hulk.
Mhm.
I think that's a cool casting pick, and
Yep.
I did watch quite a bit of Orphan Black, is where I
Mhm.
know her or whatever, and,
Yep.
so, yeah, Moon Knight, I'm most excited for on what they've shown
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
I think that it looks darker than the other things. I think that it's, um, I it Oscar Isaac looks like he's doing a good job with this,
Mhm.
it doesn't look silly.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty excited for that. Um, Ms. Marvel, like, so,
Mm,
um, I have an issue as a, like, classic comic book fan, or I guess an older one or whatever, of everything that they've done in the comic book space with Ms. Marvel and Captain Marvel. Like, it was some number of years ago, they took and they, like, reworked this whole stuff where, if you remember watching the X-Men cartoon, Ms.
mhm,
Marvel, Carol Danvers,
mhm.
was in the black, like, one piece of the lightning bolt, and
Yep,
Rogue took her powers. That's
yep,
how
I
Rogue
do
became
recall.
super powered. That was otherwise just her absorption.
Mhm.
That was Ms. Marvel, and
Yes.
Captain Marvel was a Marvel guy, and, so they at some point decide, okay, we're gonna give away the Captain Marvel banner to Carol Danvers, and
Yes.
then we're gonna have Kamala Khan call herself Ms. Marvel.
Mhm,
So a whole big shift around that,
mhm.
I think was surprising to people that had read those characters for quite a while.
Right.
Well, this is the way that Marvel Cinematic Universe does. They seem like they mostly just take the new stuff, things
Yes.
that have been done recently. Damned if people cared for it or not. That's what they're going to use, And DC does this too, largely a lot. Um, and but my biggest gripe with Ms. Marvel is it seems like they're changing her powers. Like there's this character that we've seen now in the Avengers game, and that people know from the comic or whatever. And unless I'm missing something,
Sure.
generally her power was like kind of like Mr. Fantastic. She could be real stretchy. They make her hands big. That's always how you see her with her big hands and arms way stretched out. She could
Mhm.
like completely body manipulation in that way.
Sure.
But I think it's like either they're like, well, we don't want to step on the toes of potentially Mr. Fantastic when we do have him,
Sure.
or like budgetary wise, we're worried about the visual effects of that in a television show.
Mhm.
And so it looked like I've listened to some other people do a breakdown, like she has some sort of energy manipulation of
Mhm.
like they show her running around on these purple discs that very strange
Yeah.
to me. They took this character that people supposedly that like normal people that never read comic books really love, and they're
Mhm.
gonna put her in the show and then completely change her powers.
Yeah. I found that to be weird also. Um, I had a hard time. Miss Marvel was one of the ones that I thought was, like, so brief that I
Mm,
was like, "I'm not really getting much from what you're showing me other than this, like, very brief different power." So I don't know if, like, that's, gonna be an addition to or if it's a total replacement
right.
of.
Yeah.
But that to me was one of the poorer inclusions in this because there was just so much, I don't know, like, maybe,
Hmm.
you know? It just felt incomplete to me.
Sure. I think that the ideas they want to have Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan in the new Marvels movie.
Sure.
Is that what I think it's called? Isn't it called the Marvels?
I thought
It's
so.
Captain Marvel 2, whatever that
Yeah.
is. So they don't want to spend all the time to tell her backstory in that. And
Mhm.
so we're gonna get a little backstory here.
Sure.
Just yeah. Um, let's see. What do you think of the brief look we got of She-Hulk? Like literally the
The
look of her.
leg.
Yeah. Yeah. Her like standing
The
up.
leg pan up.
Mhm.
I mean, good. I didn't get a whole lot, which I actually, appreciated not getting a total look at She-Hulk. I think that was well done, even though I wish, like, we could have seen more of the show itself. But so far, I mean, special effects look on par. They had, Bruce Banner, actual
Mhm.
Hulk, in there. I mean, the special effects look on par with anything we've seen in the Avengers movies. So
Mhm.
I'm glad at least, you know, they know where to throw their money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
yeah, I mean, she looked like, you know, She-Hulk did in the cartoons, which is, Hulk but slimmer.
Right? Yeah. Yep.
So,
Um, and then we're talking X-Men 97. That one was definitely the surprise for me.
yeah,
And I
came
didn't
out of
know what
nowhere.
that was when I what that was an interesting thing. They said nowhere in this special what that was.
Mhm.
X-Men 97, what is this? You just put in the shows like HDified or something? I no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were continuing the cartoon
Mhm.
until later, and I read stuff. Um,
Yeah.
this will
Ugh,
be
so nervous.
I'm excited for this if they stick to like they did with which was kind of the whole idea of the original cartoon was
Mhm.
retelling classic X-Men storylines in
Right.
cartoon format.
Right.
Um, if they do that and they like pick up where they left off and kind of time period, then I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
If they just make stuff up, then I'm not excited.
Yeah,
They
I don't want it to be like, let's tell new stories in, like, old cartoon format. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Mhm.
I don't want it to be like, "Oh, look at the throwback, like, lens we're looking at
Style.
and, like, the
Yeah.
style we're doing." Yeah. I don't want that. Like, if they literally wanna pick up from the show, I'm like you said, I'm super excited, I'm all here for it. I'm gonna be like a little kid again with my Saturday morning cartoons and watching X-Men and She-Hulk and just
Mhm.
loving life. But, yeah, I
Yep.
mean, it was one of those we just got, like, a snippet, a very,
Yep.
like, "Look at all the X-Men. Look at" look at how they look just like the cartoon.
Mhm.
That's it.
It's gonna be interesting because when, you know, so 97, 1997,
Mhm.
we're approaching quickly the years where we had a big shift,
Mhm.
like late 90s, early 2000s comic books from the mainstream for sure were really having trouble, and they've kind of have ever since. The saving grace was coming to film, bringing movies. And we were going to be soon getting X-Men, the movie.
Mhm.
And in the comic books to parody the film and to like hopefully tie off of that, it's like, oh, people are interested in the X-Men movie, so we're going to do comics that are similar in ways.
Mhm.
We had a completely different shift in tone. All of a
Mhm.
sudden in the comics, all the X-Men were wearing like black leather kind of things,
Yeah.
you know. So the 90s, 80s sort of colorful costumes we're familiar with went away.
Yep.
And so we don't have too many years to deal with here when we're talking X-Men 97. We
Mhm.
can basically move into the early 2000s until things all of a sudden flip. I don't know what 2000 year that was, but
Mhm.
see when the first X-Men movie came out. Um,
Well, and it's it's
2000.
h it's okay, so we have 3. I mean, if you count 97, 98, 99. I don't know if you get to count 2000, we have 3, maybe 4.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes what Disney thinks about which things are going to be, like, 1 season or one-off and which things continue. Because when I went into, like, the first releases of the Marvel shows, like WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was like 1 season, 2 seasons, I don't know, and then it seemed like they were like, "Nope, we're just gonna do these, like, little mini specials," and then Loki came along and they were suddenly like, "Nope, we're doing a season 2 of Loki." It's like, "Okay."
Mhm.
Like, what
Yeah.
was the rationale there? Not that Loki wasn't good enough to deserve a second season, because it absolutely is, but what went into, "Nope, we're only gonna do 1 season of WandaVision. Yes, we're gonna do 2 seasons of Loki." So
Mhm.
this to me is like another, like, so are we doing X-Men 97 just solo? Or are we getting an X-Men 97 and then we're gonna get an X-Men 98? You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Yeah.
who's
That's a good question.
thinking
Right.
who's thinking of continuing?
Mhm. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it depends if Marvel is still on the idea that the streaming service shows are going to be offering flavor for the
Mhm.
cinematic universe. Obviously it's
Right.
all one, but still, like, so we're getting so they don't have to provide as much context in Doctor
Mhm.
Strange and the Multiverse of Madness
Right.
for what has gone on with Wanda since. They
Right.
can kind of just move forward a little quicker. They and audiences will miss a little bit, and they might have a few extra questions, but they can reference a show then
They can figure
to,
it
like,
out, yeah.
get that filler. And
Yeah.
same with, like, well, we saw that obviously who is gonna become Captain America, and
Mhm.
then we can get the context for that now or whatever. So if they're still viewing the streaming service in that way, then we can look at it as just expediting something. So Loki, they obviously didn't get to where they need to for explaining, like, our main villain and how this is
Right.
presumably it's gonna kind of set up.
Multiverse and
Yeah, it's gonna set up things that are gonna happen in the movies. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I think they think Loki's popular, and they don't have a place for him in the movies right now, so we're
Mhm.
gonna use this television vessel to, you know, keep him going and
Yeah, and I think that all makes sense. It's just sometimes surprising to me,
Mhm,
what things are, especially. I know I belabor this because I really loved WandaVision, but introducing White Vision and then just, like,
mhm,
letting that go. It's like, who decided that that was gonna be a thing? And then are we picking it back up at some point? Is it
right.
TV? Is it movie? Is it something? Or are we just really gonna let that go?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because if that's a returning thing, will it be like flashback to the TV show in case you missed
Right.
it? Or will it be
Right.
like, well, that's what's there, and,
You're really just gonna have to go to
go
Disney
watch it.
Plus.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting how they do that. I like your
Mhm.
idea of doing 97, 98,
Mhm.
99, 3 seasons.
Keep it
I
keep it
would, yep.
short, keep it tight, keep it
Mhm.
good.
Yep. Um, then let's see. Um, Ironheart, they just flashed the logo
Mhm.
up or whatever.
Yeah.
This is one I wish they wouldn't do. Really wish they wouldn't do this.
Mm.
To me, it's like I don't want to see every Marvel hero that comes and goes in the
Mhm.
universe to need a direct replacement.
Sure.
I just
Sure.
don't. I think that lets a lot of valuable characters sit on the back burner just because you feel like you need a direct analog to a whatever character that's beloved.
Yeah.
So I am not a fan of any of those kind of moves. Um, that basically cover the Marvel side of Disney Plus Day.
I think so.
Um,
Um, I did see, just to, like, bring it up quick because we're talking about it. They had released, and I don't know when these were, but for anybody who is sort of not needing a catch up or a refresher on anybody, they have 2 series. Um, One is, uh, Legends, which is basically just going, like, character by character and being like, "Here's where Wanda is right now in the
oh, interesting.
MCU."
Okay.
Like, "Here's where, like, Iron Man is. Here's where Captain America is. Here's where Thor is." And they're, like, 15-ish, 20-ish minutes, just, like, recaps of, like, everything that's been going on for that character in the
Okay.
MCU. And I
That's a
think
good
that's
idea.
kinda cool.
Yeah.
And then they also have, Assembled, which goes, like, show by show, not every single one, but they do, like, here's how this show came together. Like, here's how WandaVision came together, or here's how Shang-Chi came together. Like,
Hmm,
kind of like the building pieces of, like, what's in this movie, what does it mean? Um, and maybe some, I haven't seen all of them, so maybe some sneak previews for what's next for the character or the film.
cool.
Um, so yeah, those are just two kind of if you either need to catch up or you're interested in learning more about some of the lore and some of the things that go into making some of the movies, Disney's got some like behind the scenes stuff. Looks pretty
Okay.
cool.
Nice. Um, come back to Disney Plus Day for in just a
Yeah.
second. But wanted to bring up the Spider-Man trailer that came out on
Yeah.
Tuesday. Did you watch it?
I did. I did. I'm so excited for Alfred Molina. I can't
Mm.
even. He is just one of my favorite pieces of the Tobey Maguire
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Verse. So I'm so stoked that he's coming back.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised they didn't show more, but I'm okay with it too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited. It's like definitely looks like it's going to be a big one. It's interesting to read about it a little bit that it sounds like they've had like what's his Tom Holland didn't
Mhm.
particularly love some stuff about it, and they said they like
Oh,
sat down and chatted about where the movie could go, and they
okay.
changed the script a lot.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah, we're getting these kind of production, like for instance, Doctor Strange is in lots of reshoots,
Right.
tons of reshoots, and so people are worried about that. Um, I don't know. Sometimes that works out for the best. It
Mhm.
means they're getting critiques and they're changing things and hopefully improving upon.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I'm excited for the Spider-Man movie. The trailer looks fun.
It does.
Um, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to decide where I want to go here. So just we mentioned Eternals the other week. We talked about it with
Yeah.
Pete a little bit because he'd seen
Mhm.
it. I still have not seen it.
Mhm.
It's been a
Same.
real mix of like good and bad, what I've heard from people. But it seems like it's doing pretty well in the box office, but like better. I haven't seen now the latest figures, but when I looked in its second week, it was doing pretty well. Like there's always
Mhm.
the expected drop off, and it
Right.
was far less than often or anticipated.
Hmm.
So
So
it
maybe
might
word of
have,
mouth from those who have
yeah,
enjoyed it, like, "Hey, it's not as bad as," I mean, that's never like a great thing that you wanna be like, "Hey, it's
right,
not that bad." But you know what I mean? Like there can if it's not, especially for Marvel, like this big immediate booming success, I think people are like, "Ooh, it's terrible, like I should stay away." And I think
yep,
maybe perhaps those that saw it and liked it are like, no, it's don't think that just because it's not the best, it's bad."
yeah. So it might have a little turnaround, might have legs, and be interesting to keep an eye on.
Mhm.
Um, we had another director come out and say
Mm.
talk smack about comic book movies.
Yep.
Ridley Scott, and I quote,
Shocker.
superhero movie scripts are not any effing good. They're mostly saved by special effects, and that's becoming boring for everyone who works with special effects if you've got the money.
Mhm.
Um, end quote. Ridley Scott. And I was asking, friends and stuff, like, are we tired? I mean, obviously we're talking about all and stuff, but are we tired of these yet, or are we just as entertained, or is it just like it's just kind of a staple now? It's like they're
Yeah,
coming. Why
we
not? We're
expect
gonna see
them.
them, but it's not the wow factor that it used to have. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's probably a fair critique to say that script quality has dropped off a bit. Um, Not that, superhero movies still can't be good or be well written, but yeah, probably there's not the time and the care in crafting them that there maybe was in the early day of Marvel when they were, just sowing the seeds of like all of their plans and like writing out the first movies for everybody and putting everything out. Um, I think there definitely was a lot of care taken to craft those stories. And yeah, could be a bit second nature now. It does seem like special effects wise, they do have to keep upping the game, which can be cool or can be, wildly unbelievable. I am a little worried about Hawkeye in
Mm,
particular. Um, there were some effects in that trailer that I wasn't sure that I was a fan of.
mm,
Like, a
okay.
lot of, like, the slow down, up close face shots, Hawkeye sideways shooting arrows. I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I think this is supposed to be cool, and I don't know that I think it is cool."
Okay.
Or, like, the car chase scene
Mhm.
where they're, like, panning the camera around, like, different effects wise, and I was like, "I don't know
Yeah.
if I like that either." Like, I don't know
Yeah,
that
they're
I
trying to do something unique there, yeah, to
Yeah,
keep spinning it and
and I
keep the
didn't know that
action
I
going.
needed that.
Hmm.
So, I think it's a fair thing to say. Again, doesn't mean, like, some of them can't be good, and perhaps Ridley Scott's a little salty.
Yeah.
So he certainly
Um,
uses a number of special effects in his own shows. So,
yes.
I don't think it's, like, totally fair to, like, dismiss it, but yeah. I get probably where he's coming from.
Yep. Um, Switching gears to, the magic of special effects to the magic of Hogwarts and Wizarding
Yeah.
World.
Yeah.
What's this going on? What's happening here?
Yeah, HBO Max announced this week that it will be celebrating the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter, which thank you for making me feel super old, HBO. They are gonna have like a special that is released in the very first day, January 1st of the new year, 2022. That's bringing together the entire cast to talk about their experiences, kind of relive some of the movie moments, um, you know, one-on-one interviews, group interviews, a whole like behind the scenes remembering, um, which I think is going to be really fun.
Hmm,
It's the first time that the entire cast has gotten together.
sure.
Um, Obviously, sadly, minus Richard Harris, the first Dumbledore, who of course passed
Yeah.
away, and then of course Alan Rickman. That will
Mhm,
be, I think, um, a huge loss, and will be probably felt there
mhm.
very keenly.
So are they celebrating, like, Harry Potter in general or the films or the books? Is it 20 years of the films or 20 years of Harry Potter?
20 years of Harry Potter,
Okay,
um, 20 years of, I think, the books.
okay.
I mean, obviously slash the movies since the entire cast
Right.
is getting there, but yeah. I think it's
Yeah,
just
it's
a more general.
okay. Yeah, there's kind of an interesting, like, distinction there because they have, the films and the books are separate things. You definitely have
Yeah.
people that are fans more of one or the other,
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
it, I
Yeah,
thought I
unfortunately, you
heard
can't really, like, do much with the books other than, like, interview JK Rowling,
yeah, which
which I
which
don't think they are, actually.
yeah,
I'm not positive on that.
which is what I thought I'd heard, which is why I thought maybe it was more about the movies, and that would be more acceptable to me.
Mhm. I'm sure
Um,
they're gonna focus more on the movies because it's easier to do,
right,
and HBO is obviously offering all of the Harry Potter movies for streaming, so I'm sure
right,
it's a little bit of a chance to, like, tout their own platform.
yep.
Um,
But if it's
so there
20
I think
years, like, of Harry Potter in general,
I think so.
I wouldn't be doing this special if you don't interview the author that's still alive. It's just really it's very odd to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, because you wanna hear if it's about that, you wanna hear the story of, like, how I mean, and some of us have, how it came to be, writing these things on
Mhm.
the, like, napkin and stuff on the train and all this, all these things, but, like, that's
Right.
something you would have in this special to
So,
celebrate the life of this.
I am incorrect. It is 20 years of the movies.
Now you feel even older, right?
I do feel even older. I was like, "There's no way it can be 20 years of the
Mm.
movies. It has to be of the books." Nope. First movie was released November 14th, 2001.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I feel 20 times older now that I know. It's been 20 years since the first movie.
Okay.
Jesus.
it's still a little weird, but it's more understandable now. It's like
Yeah,
this is the
no,
movies, and this is
it makes more sense. Yeah, no, I was absolutely convinced it could not be 20 years in the movies. I was like, "No way. The actors aren't even, like, that old. Like, they would have been playing Harry Potter when he was, like, 6." Nope. Nope. If.
all right. Well, we'll see how that goes. We'll wheel up in our wheelchairs.
Right? Yeah.
Watch.
Together in the group home and
Yeah.
take out our dentures to eat some popcorn and yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, to side deviate just along our Harry Potter spectrum right now. Um, I am so stoked. I don't know where this is on or when it's happening, but they've been advertising for like the Harry Potter like game of houses, and it's like the tournament of houses, and it's like a Harry Potter quiz show, and each team is going to be one of the four houses, and Helen Mirren is hosting it, and I'm, like, so super stoked
What?
about it. Yeah. I have no information. It's just been, advertised, like I said, on TV. I'm super pumped.
Game of Houses.
I need to find
Um,
out, like, when it's happening, where it's happening, because I will be
four-night
watching.
trivia show.
Yes.
Let's see. Fans compete for their Hogwarts house in teams of three. When is this happening, though? You get prizes. The winning house will be crowned House Cup champion and receive prizes such as tickets to the Broadway production of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I didn't know that was still going on.
Mhm.
Advanced screenings for Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. I didn't even know that was the name of the next movie.
Me neither.
And a
Wow.
$1,000 shopping spree at the Harry Potter New York store in New York City. Um, let's see. There will be special guests: Tom Felton, Moaning Myrtles, Shirley Henderson.
Funny.
Let's see. Also, Potterhead fans, Saturday Night Live's Pete Davidson and comedian Jay Leno will appear during the show as well. Great. Uh,
What?
um, yeah.
Man, I was already
Okay.
confused over, like, I mean, I love it, but, like, why is Helen Mirren hosting this? She has nothing to do with Harry Potter, but that's even more of, like, a way back there, like, pitch.
Yep.
"Hey, be excited about Pete Davidson and Jay Leno." Nope.
Yeah. Hmm. So, yeah, Alan found it too here. There is the
Oh,
28th
excellent.
of November, TBS,
Oh,
Cartoon
and then it'll
Network's
be on
Action
HBO Max.
channel, and then
Sure.
yeah, the HBO Max. So interesting, interesting.
Yeah, I'm
It
gonna watch it. I may not,
it's-
like, sit down and watch it, like, right away, but I'm
yeah,
definitely going to at some point. It'll be fun.
Harry Potter is one of those sad things that was so like I think those movies are so good. It's really
Mhm.
impressive. I love the books, and it's just really suffered from this like a lot of content being pushed out there
Mm.
to like minimal success. You
Like,
know, like
extra
obviously,
content, you mean?
well, obviously, Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
First one did quite well, and the second one is doing
Mm.
less well received. Um, the game by Niantic, I think, has been shut down.
Yeah, it's closing down this month.
You know, there was, and then there's, you know, I won't get into it, but there's all kinds of like controversies that Twitter likes to have for different things, including the video
Yeah.
game that was coming up or whatever. And it's just been like, I don't know. It's another one of those things that would have done well to just stop after the
Mhm.
movies and just at least take a moment, you know? And because arguably the state of Harry Potter is not very good right now. Like if we were gonna
Yeah.
analyze the state of the union here for Harry Potter, it's just not there's not a lot that people are really excited for. Um
Mhm.
the talk that goes around that press spreads is not great. Movie
Mhm.
reception less than stellar. It's just
Mhm.
not, the Universal I
Yeah.
think is the big, like if you're a Harry Potter fan, you can go to Universal and love the theme park.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I think they would have done well to selectively release content you know, like, I would say Harry Potter and the Cursed Child did well and is doing well on Broadway. Um, I think they're adapting it possibly into a movie. Um,
Mm,
I'm a little nervous about that, but, you know, being that it's done so well commercially already, like, seems like there's, solid storyline there. Um, First Fantastic Beasts, yeah, I really enjoyed that. Probably should have, instead of, like, rushing to get more out and keep people's interest, just taken the time to, like,
mhm.
slow down and develop a quality script
Yep,
for the next one, and I think at least I hope they're doing that with this 3rd one now.
right.
Um, but yeah, it just was sort of like a mad chaotic push to be like, "Let's get a game out there, let's get a video game out there, let's get, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, let's do the movies, like, let's do all these offshoots," and just didn't go well.
Yep. And it's, such a lack of foresight, I think, to
Yeah.
even call those movies Fantastic Beasts, to burden them with having to be called Fantastic Beasts something. 'Cause then
Yeah.
you have to, like, focus
Well
somehow or incorporate magical beasts, when
well,
clearly
and
that's not the story they wanna tell.
right. That's the part I find very weird. The first movie, yes, it's a cute little callback to, the very first book when Harry was getting his like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was one of his textbooks. You know, that's cute that we're like telling that story. The beasts slash creatures slash whatever you'd like to call them in the first movie made sense. They were in there, they were done well. There was no sort of like, why is this here? But then we should have just moved on and called the second movie something completely different.
Yep.
Call it just the Crimes of Grindelwald if you want to. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, whatever. But don't saddle it with Fantastic Beasts because then in the second movie, I felt like they were jamming, all sorts of fantastic creatures in there. Not really any place for them in the movie.
Yep. It could have been, you know, it could have been Wizarding World's Fantastic Beast, the
Hmm.
Wizarding World's Crimes of Grindelwald, the Wizard or,
Right.
whatever, or they could have gone with like they did with Harry Potter, and if your protagonist is gonna be Newt
Yeah.
Scamander and the Fantastic Beasts, Newt
Yeah.
Scamander and the whatever.
And the
But
Crimes of Grindelwald. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
they're just clearly trying to tell a story about Grindelwald and what
Hmm.
happened here before Harry Potter, leading up to, like giving context for Dumbledore and the way he does things and whatever.
Hmm.
And it's, I don't know. It just seems really weird that you're like planning out this saga and
Yeah.
it's really, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like your idea of like the wizarding world because clearly we have three movies that are tied together and Newt Scamander's in all of them. But the first one really felt focused on him. The second one was Grindelwald, and now, surprise, we have the title of the third movie, which is going
Hmm.
to be about Dumbledore. So yeah, so if we're having these movies, why not just call them the Wizarding World and then we
Hmm.
can focus on that character in each of the movies. And I feel like it would free up, who's ever writing slash directing to
Yep.
be like, cool, I can take a more broad approach. I don't have to like go in through this lens.
Yep. Yep.
Side
Okay.
tangent, but interesting.
Yeah. I mentioned Harry Potter video game as one that's in
Hmm.
like production hell or whatever right now and stuff. Um, but moving to the video games category, then we won't
Hmm.
take too long with it. But there was an Xbox event, a 20th anniversary live stream this
Yeah.
last Monday. The rumors for the show leading into it ended up all being correct. And we got a big list of backwards compatible games, along with
Yes.
ones that have frames per second boost.
Hmm.
This looks like it's going to be the last, for the time being, maybe ever, the last additional slew of back compat games that have been made available to the current system.
Hmm.
But it's over 70 games,
Yeah. It's
so it's
quite a
pretty
bit.
good. We had the announcement of a six-part documentary called Power On coming out December 16th. I think that is. uh, talking about the origin of Xbox and how that system came to be and everything.
Mhm.
And we got The Rock. We got lots of The Rock. Did you see all that stuff?
I didn't see all of it, no, but I definitely saw some of it and was like, "Hey, what you
Yeah.
doing here?"
Yeah, it was cool because he was there unveiling the original Xbox, so they brought him
Yes.
back to do a cross promotion with his new movie and stuff, so,
Yep.
that was fun. They teased the Halo show that is coming next year to Paramount Plus. That's a show that's been also in, like, production hell and back and forth, and is it happening, all this stuff for a long time.
Sure.
It's gonna be on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
I wish things would stop coming to Paramount Plus.
I agree.
It's I
Can we all just collectively, like, tank Paramount Plus so it can the, content can be released to other platforms,
Yeah,
please?
right?
I just can't with another platform.
'Cause I keep seeing now I put in your Mayor of Kingstown ad
Yeah,
advertised, and I think it looks pretty good, but that's again on Paramount Plus, so I guess I'm not gonna get to see that one.
I know.
So, but I don't know. I guess they're working, they're trying to sell me. Eventually, there'll be enough things and
Mhm.
just we're just stuck having, like, 10 streaming services, Andrea. It's just
No, I refuse. I refuse. I don't know.
well,
I feel like I'm not gonna lie, like, already Peacock might be last gasping it. I
really?
just don't
Okay,
hear, like, anything about Peak
okay,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, there's just not a lot going on there.
Is it
Like,
like
they're not working
Friends
to
on that,
create what?
right? Friends, is that on there, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've got, like, Friends in The Office and Parks and Rec, but which, I don't mean to dismiss those shows. Those are quality shows, big draw shows, totally get it. But, like, they haven't really announced a whole lot that's new, and what they have announced has not done well.
Mm,
Like, it was a big thing, like, Halloween Kills is coming to Peacock
mm,
TV. Didn't
yeah,
do so hot.
yeah.
Like, just it's just things like that are just, is why I feel like Peacock is already sort of maybe on its way out. Could
You
be
know,
wrong. Come
if
at
if
me if I am.
if I can have, like, a short little another tangent here as you bring up Halloween Kills and stuff. So, is this you know, I'm sure other cultures have this problem too, but
Mhm.
man, does it seem like a problem in the West with,
Sure.
this like, after so many years, do you think we still need another Halloween movie? Like,
God,
of
no.
all the scary things that can happen in the world or whatever, and you need to tell another
Yeah.
Halloween. Like, I was talking with Ashley about it. Um, when you look at anime, because I
Mhm.
brought up this kind of thing before, where um, if you sort of see the trends, a few years ago, a number of years ago already, it was Tokyo Ghoul was everywhere. You go into
Mhm.
Hot Topic, it was Tokyo
Yeah.
Ghoul this and Tokyo Ghoul that. And then all of a sudden, like, um, Attack on Titan came out.
Mhm.
Oh my god, Attack on Titan. And, like they had people were cosplaying as Attack on Titan all over the place. It was like it was one of those shows that was getting people that weren't into anime to try anime. It's a big
Mhm.
thing. Then, a little later we had um, My Hero Academia or One Punch Man, big shows that everybody was talking about. Then you move
Mhm.
into uh, there's like God, what was the other one I was just thinking of? Well, now we have Demon Slayer.
Oh,
Demon
yeah,
Slayer is
sure.
everywhere. Breaking box office things in Japan and all this stuff. The
Mhm.
point is, every few years, there's a brand new thing that becomes the biggest thing. And it's not just so they have their series that go on forever. They have One Piece. One Piece, I think today celebrates its 1,000th episode or something like that.
Oof.
Like, so
Dang.
they definitely are things that are serialized that continue forever. But
Yeah.
the really big things, there's always something new invented, and there's like it's a quality product. They put time and energy behind it. People love it. And we just America can't seem to do that. or are completely unwilling. Yeah, let's make another Halloween movie. Great idea. Even as much as I liked the Ghostbusters, like we had to do another Ghostbusters. We couldn't think
Mhm.
of something new.
Right.
Like, and with the Marvel stuff, we never invent new heroes. We just regurgitate the same ones. Let's
Mhm.
reinvent the same hero. Let's
Sure.
just change the casting, whatever. Like there's no creativity here, and it can be done because
Mhm.
others do it. The
Right.
Japanese market does this. Like in 40, if this was Attack on Titan was an American thing, in 40 years we'd have Attack on Titan 700.
Yeah.
Like it's just sad. It's just sad.
Yeah, it's sad not only, for thinking about what properties could have been that are, like when you think about it, like what's not getting made that could be really cool that we could be
Right.
talking about, what's not out there. But then also you just get to a point with something, even something that you love, and you look at it dragged on so long, and you just sort of look at it with pity now.
Mhm.
You just get sad and you're just like, "Oh god, it's still happening. Why?"
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
Um, as much as I love Jamie Lee Curtis and would love to see her in, like, whatever she wants to be in, why does it have to be Halloween?
Yep.
And why do we keep dragging this out? And, I mean, knowing full well that there's another one already in the works because it's gonna be,
Right.
like, the final because this, like, newer one is, part of a trilogy.
Okay.
It was, like, Halloween Kills, and then ha
Halloween is
they
dead.
God, I hope it's Halloween is Dead. But it's something about, Halloween, forever, or I don't know, whatever.
Mhm.
That some sort of
Mhm.
title already came out that they're saying,
Yep.
like, this is gonna be, like, a trilogy. Already knowing that that exists makes me sad,
Yep. Right.
so
Just no, exactly. And like you said, what things are out there that aren't being told?
Yep.
It's kind of like if you listen to the radio, it's like this is all there is for music. No,
Mhm.
no, there's a lot of artists out there creating a lot of
Mhm.
music you could go to. Just the big
Yep.
labels are going to choose the certain things that they're going to promote and pay the radio stations to play, and that's what you get.
Right,
You know?
it's hard because there's this weird sense of, like, you almost already have to be successful even though you're, like, a brand new property to be made. Do you know what I mean? Do you
Mhm.
know what I mean? There's this weird, like, sense of there already has to be an element of success to something because, whether you're talking about books or music or television or film, so there's so little that it feels like the US is willing to take a gamble on. You
Mhm.
already have to have some sort of, like, draw or element or sense of familiarity for viewers to be, made.
'Cause
I
they
don't
think they have to spend so much money.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like Tom Holland was on record saying, I think this week or whatever, oh, maybe it's time that I step aside and we have Miles Morales be Spider-Man.
Cool.
Miles Morales isn't a new, again, it's Spider-Man forever. And that's what they want.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man forever. It's not,
I get what you're saying.
it's just the same thing over and over and over again versus a new character. And like, again, Squid Game is the perfect example. I don't know what the budget was for it, but a nothing, no known property that blew up. Take a
Yep.
chance on something different. I don't know how
Yeah.
many. Okay. All right. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. You're preaching to the choir over here.
Mhm. So we get some originality with games anyways. There's some new games that keep coming out. Like obviously they love doing their sequels too, but we do get new
Right.
content, some new ideas thrown out there yet, especially in the indie space. So
Right.
speaking of not doing that though, and a long running series, the big deal from the Xbox event was that the Halo multiplayer beta is dropping. And so it did that afternoon. It's available on PC, Xbox cloud streaming, and on Xboxes themselves.
Mhm.
And it It's fun. I've been playing it some. It's a fun game so far. It does have some things that need to be critiqued with the progression system. I've been seeing that everywhere. People talking about that, so
Sure.
that's understandable. And then they also, I don't know if they announced it during the stream or like the next day or whatever, but the game streaming beta thing is available. Basically, like when I was talking a few
Oh,
weeks
okay.
ago about
Yeah.
PlayStation Now being how it's great, you can just like have a game that's on there and just start playing it, and then if you love it, then download it or something. Well, they're doing that now in Game Pass. So um, it's in
Excellent.
beta mode, and I hope PlayStation Now responds. We need something else on their side because on the Xbox they just took one of the big things that made a PlayStation Now a benefit. And
Mhm.
so now, if you're in Game Pass Ultimate, you can see a game and you can just hit play and try it before downloading
That's
it.
excellent.
So,
I mean, not to take away, but I mean, if it's a good idea, it's a good idea, and
oh,
it should be
absolutely, if
available.
it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen everywhere. So, but just PlayStation lost one of their competitive advantages there, and
Right.
so, you
Right.
know.
Well, speaking of new ideas, come up with one PlayStation.
Yeah. Hey, this year they had Returnal, which was a brand new thing they took
Yep.
a chance
Mhm.
on, they spent a little more money, they gave them more money, that studio, and then they bought that studio, that they
Mhm.
worked with for a long time, so that's something.
Yes.
Um, and, yeah, we'll have to talk next time probably about the Game Awards nominations. Um
Yeah, I just got a chance to like glance through some of these, so I'd love to take a little bit more time to like see
Mhm.
what's been nominated. I do have to mention I was a little shocked that Res Evil Village was nominated for Game of the Year.
Okay,
Like
okay.
not like, oh my
Mhm.
god, wildly like undeserved, but I was just a little surprised to see it there.
Yeah. Yeah, some people have, like, there's been plenty of criticism of the Game Awards, just like
Mhm.
any awards thing now,
Yeah.
whatever. I feel like it used to be that without the broad communication on the subjects, people would just like, well, this is the award show, and so these are going to be the good things and whatever. And now with online, everybody can discuss it and break
Mhm.
it down, and people have questions of who's all voting for this, like who
Right.
really knows. And so we'll have to talk about snubs and stuff like that coming
Yes.
up. Um, Maybe as we get a little closer, maybe come up with our own list of like what our favorite game of the year was or what you think was
Nice.
most deserving. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Yeah, like I said, I haven't had time to really glance through all of the nominations, but yeah, just opened, of course, Game of the Year up just for funsies to see what was in there, and was like, oh, well, look at
Yep.
you.
Yep. All right. That's been our hodgepodge episode. Some familiar topics for everybody. We got to talk about Marvel, Disney Plus, and all that sort of thing. So we got in there. Let us know what you think. What are you excited about? What are you not excited about? All that sort of thing. Um, and let me know how much you're willing to pay me to watch the Netflix Cowboy Bebop show. Because I'm taking donations now, uh, or bribes, I guess. It's got to be a lot of money. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm after having watched my 10 minutes, I'm still like I could still watch some of this. I'm still intrigued. Um, we'll see how I feel after an entire episode, I think. You know what
I
I
thought it
mean?
was, hmm
Like
yeah.
I was interested enough in what was happening to like still like go forward, and I'll give it a chance. Though I do have to say I did not enjoy the shot for shot basically remake of the theme song.
Okay. Okay.
Did not was not great.
I thought it was funny because Hideo Kojima, he tweets things once in a while or whatever, and he said like he was going to start the Cowboy Bebop show.
Mm.
And then he decided to not keep watching it. And he said he's watched some other show or whatever and watched through all that. That was great. So he said like the Cowboy Bebop show dot dot dot, and then I watched something else. So
Okay. I'd
some
be interested to
shade
know
from
like
Hideo
how
Kojima.
far, like an episode, a couple episodes, like 10 minutes, like what I watched last night, how far?
Mhm. Well,
And
we
then,
were, yeah. We were talking, how sometimes anime can take a little bit, a couple episodes or whatever. But it's not really fair in because normally these Netflix shows are like 50 minutes apiece.
Yeah.
Anime is like 23. So
Right.
maybe you watch 2 episodes and that's 1 episode worth of whatever. And
Right.
even on anime, I do that a lot less now, give it fewer chances because there's so
Mhm.
much available that I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need to spend the time giving this that, second chance or whatever. So, but
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know like when we've done some home cons and stuff like that, sometimes it takes like 3 episodes. I felt like 3 episodes, for a show was often the sweet spot of, "Am I really into this?"
mhm.
You know? First episode's like nothing. Second episode is still sometimes a question mark, and then by the 3rd episode, I feel like you know. But it's hard to give it that many chances,
Yep.
you know?
I think for a new show, a new one now, I don't know
Mhm.
if you should. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
if someone that you have similar tastes with, it's just says it
Or
is so
trust,
amazing
yeah.
and you should stick with it, yeah. But otherwise, I don't think an older show, okay. But now I feel like they have to know there's so much access to content here and so many
Right.
choices. You have to
Right.
have that hook to get people in right away.
And that, just to bring it full circle, that I was telling Phil yesterday, that was one of the things I appreciated about Wheel of Time. It did not give a lot of exposition, and I was afraid because the world is so rich that I could see them trying to, like, explain everything and
Mhm.
then jump into the show, and we got, like, 3 sentences, and then they were like, "Nope, we're jumping right in," and
Nice.
I loved that. It was so great. They did not need to belabor things.
Yep.
Whereas, like, that was one of my huge critiques of what Amazon tried to be their first, like, post Game of Thrones fantasy show, Carnival Row.
Hmm.
5 plus minutes of exposition, and I was just, like, dragging at the end of
Mhm.
all of this, and it was so hard to get into, and I'm so glad they learned. Somebody
Nice.
learned from that.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, that's been Popcast on the Rocks, episode 83.
Mhm.
Please follow us here on Twitch or YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. Leave comments, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We're also in just audio podcast form. So take your favorites podcast directory, subscribe, leave a review, that kind of thing. Reviews help to other people know that they should give us a check. So look. Um, Thank you to Killing the Flower for our theme song. You can find them on YouTube and Spotify and Instagram.
Mhm.
And my brother-in-law, Lucas333, that's Lucas with a K. He's been off for a little bit, but I think he's going to be picking up this week again in the afternoons, streaming. We might be doing Paladins this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So give that a look. Otherwise, that's been it from us. We'll see you next week. And thanks again for joining me, Andrea.
Of course. Cheers, everybody.